students, good morning. In our last lecture, we have already started nanochemistry. We have already defined nanoparticles or nanostructures. What are nanoparticles or nanostructures? Nanoparticles are those particles whose particle size is very less. How much it is less? It is less than 100 nanometer. Then that is known as nanoparticle or nanostructure. And these nanoparticles or nanostructures have been divided into different types, that is 3 types. Let us discuss one by one the different types of nanostructure. This is zero dimensional nanostructure. What do you mean by zero dimensional nanostructure? That particular nanostructure, if the size of the particle, if it is so small, that all the 3 dimensions are, if they are below 100 nanometers, then that is known as zero dimensional nanostructure. What is the example of zero dimensional? For example, these nanoparticles or cluster of nanoparticles. Next is one dimensional nanostructure. In this one dimensional nanostructure, any two of the dimensions of that particular structure, if they are in between 10 to 100 nanometers, then that is known as one dimensional nanostructure. For example, nanorods or nanotubes, right? The third type is two-dimensional nanostructure. What is two-dimensional nanostructure? In which if only one dimension is in between the range of 10 to 100 nanometers, then that is known as two-dimensional nanostructure. For example, thin film. Generally the film which is used in the solar energy, that is known as two-dimensional nanostructure. After completion of these types of nanostructure, we are going into details of certain physical properties of nanostructures. Now let us go into details of those physical properties of nanostructures. Now we are studying about the characteristic features of nanoparticles or physical properties of nanoparticles. Characteristic features means what? Some of the characteristic features, some of the physical properties of nanomaterial, it is different than the bulk material. For example, let us consider gold. As you know, gold is this color. Gold is present in the form of yellow substance if it is present in bulk substance. For example, this is the bulk gold, which is yellow in color. This is the most important optical property of nanomaterial. If the same gold, if we consider it in a nano form, means the size of the particle, size of the gold particle is very, very less, extremely small, below 100 nanometers. If we consider the nanomaterialized gold, then the color of the gold does not remain pink. It becomes almost red. This is the most important characteristic of color. After that, next physical property or the next characteristic feature of the nanomaterial is nothing but the surface area. How much surface area is available, depending upon that, the rate of the chemical reaction changes. Let us discuss. In case of nanomaterial, surface area to volume ratio is high, very high. It is high means what? Let us consider bulk material as well as nanomaterialized material of the same substance. If we are considering gold, okay, gold or carbon or whatever it is. If let us assume that this is a bulk material, means its particle size is more. If the same bulk material is considered for the chemical reaction, then this is cuboid structure, tube structure. In this particular cube, this site is available for the chemical reaction, as well as this site is available, or this site is available, or this site is, this is a 6 sites are available for the chemical reactions. means the number of sites which are available for the chemical reaction is whatever it is fixed. But if same bulk material, if we divide into smaller pieces, if we divide into nanomaterialized substances, then this material, this cube, if it is divided into smaller pieces, then what happens is this surface area was available for the chemical reaction last time, but the new surface area got created. New surface area got created. Again, this surface area was available for the chemical reaction. This is that surface area available for the chemical reaction. But new surface area is now available for the chemical site for the chemical reaction. Active site. It is acting as an active site for the chemical reaction. It means if we convert bulk material into smaller pieces, more sites are available for the chemical reaction. The surface area goes on increasing. But the volume remains the same. The volume of this and volume of this is almost same. Almost means exactly same. Volume of this and volume of this is also same. What we are changing is this bulk material we are going to cut into pieces into nanomaterial. We are again going to cut into nanomaterial. Here in this cube we are going to cut this nanomaterial again into finely divided particles. Then what happens? Again increased surface area is getting available. Increased surface area is getting available. It means volume, actually volume remains the same. It means the rate of the chemical reaction goes on increasing. How does it increase? It increases because the surface area which is created or which is added acts as an active site for the chemical reaction, and therefore the rate of the chemical reaction increases. This is the most important property of the nanomaterialized substance. The next property is catalytic property. Let us discuss that catalytic property now. We are discussing about the characteristic features of nanomaterial particle. Now, this is our third point of our discussion, that is catalytic activity. In fact, the earlier point that surface area increases, so far as nanomaterial is concerned, this point and this particular point of catalytic activity, it is almost same. We now need to understand the nanomaterialized catalytic substance is having very good catalytic activity. Why? We are going into details. For example, let me consider one reaction of hydrogenation of vegetable oil so as to convert it into ghee or dalda by using nickel or platinum or palladium as a catalyst. For example, consider that this is the nickel piece. Now, first of all, let us understand this reaction. What we are going to do? We are going to do hydrogenation of vegetable oil. Means in that particular container of chemical reaction, hydrogen gas is there, vegetable oil is there, and we are going to carry out hydrogenation of vegetable oil so as to convert it into ghee or dalda, whatever you call it in normal language. Right? So what happens is, whenever we are carrying hydrogenation of vegetable oil, in that gas, in that container of the reaction, hydrogen gas is there. After that, vegetable oil is there. When I add a piece of catalyst which is bulk in nature, I repeat, when I add a piece of catalyst which is bulk in nature in that particular container, what happens is, whatever hydrogen gas is available in that container, that hydrogen gas is getting accumulated. It is getting accumulated, means it is getting adsorbed on the surface of nickel substance. I am considering this as a bulk substance. Now, hydrogen gas is getting accumulated on this bulk substance. So, the concentration of hydrogen gas is getting accumulated at that particular area, Therefore, concentration of hydrogen gas goes on increasing. If the concentration of the reactant increases, because what are our reactants? Hydrogen gas is our reactant. We are going to carry out hydrogenation of vegetable oil. So what happens? Hydrogen gas concentration goes on increasing. If it increases, the rate of the reaction increases. Now we have considered bulk molecule. For this bulk molecule, how much surface area is available? This complete surface area, this surface area, and this surface area for the accumulation or adsorption of hydrogen gas is available. Now what I do is, let me cut this nickel or platinum or palladium into two different pieces. Now whatever area was available for the adsorption of gas, accumulation of gas, now it has been increased, because now this area, this one, as well as this area is also available for the adsorption of gas. Means surface area got increased if the particle size got decreased. Size of the substance, size of the bulk material we have reduced. It is reduced like this. If size of the bulk material is reduced, the surface area got increased. The surface area got increased, therefore what will happen? The hydrogen gas will get accumulated at this surface, and other surface also. Therefore the concentration of the reactant again increases more. If I again make it into pieces, again surface area will go on increasing. But if I convert nickel piece into nanomaterialized particles, means extremely small particles. If I consider extremely small particles of nickel or platinum or palladium, then what happens? All three dimensions of that particular nanomaterialized particle is available for the adsorption of the gas, and therefore more surface area is available for the chemical reaction. And if more surface area is available for the chemical reaction, therefore instead of using bulk material as a bulk material as a catalyst, let us use nanomaterialized substance as a catalyst, and they are acting as a best catalyst, right? This is nothing but catalytic activity of nanomaterial. In short, nanomaterial substances acts as a best catalyst. For example, even gold particles or gold nanoparticle is also one of the best nanomaterial, best catalyst, right? After that, thermal properties. Bulk material and nanomaterial, they are having different melting points. For example, consider melting point of sodium cluster of 1000 atoms. The melting point, if we consider 1000 atoms, cluster of 1000 atoms, this is also nanomaterial, then its melting point is 288 Kelvin. Whereas we consider same element but 10,000 atoms, then melting point is 303 Kelvin. Means melting point got increased if we increase the number of atoms. If the same element, if the same sodium, if we consider in bulk material, then the melting point again increases to 371 Kelvin. What does it mean? It means that nanomaterialized substance is having different melting point. This nanomaterialized substance is having different melting point as compared to this bulk material. This is one of the most important characteristic of nanomaterialized substances. After that, mechanical property. Let me rub this and let me go ahead. Now we are going into details of mechanical properties. Now we are going into details of our fifth characteristic of nanomaterial, that is mechanical property, means how much mechanical strength it is having. For example, if we consider a bulk material, the bulk material, if we break into pieces, we need some energy. This energy, let us keep it aside, let us imagine it. But if we consider a substance, for example like this, if we want to break it, we need very high level of energy. If we need very high level of energy, means if the particle size gets decreased, it becomes more stronger and stronger, because nanomaterial is extremely small. This is not the nanomaterial. Nanomaterial is just like particles, which is extremely small. Therefore, its mechanical strength is very, very high. So, nano-sized copper or palladium is 5 times stronger than normal copper or palladium. Now the next point is electrical conductivity. For example, carbon nanotubes act as a best conductor of electricity, or they are acting as a conductor, or sometimes they are acting as a semiconductor. After finishing this, we are going into details of synthesis of nanomaterial. Now, let us discuss about synthesis of nanomaterial. There are various methods of synthesis of nanomaterial. So far as chemical Sol-Gel method is concerned, this Sol-Gel method we are going to discuss later on. First of all, let us consider these two methods. What are those two methods? Top-down approach and bottom-up approach. Let me explain it with the help of this schematic diagram. Top-down approach means it is very, very simple. Means a bulk substance is considered, bulk substance is taken, a material having large particle size is taken and it is cut into smaller pieces. It is cut into smaller particles or structures of required size, that is nanomaterial, that is known as top-down approach. Means in case of top-down approach, what we are doing is we are converting a large macromolecule into smaller components. This is nothing but the top-down approach. What is bottom-up approach? In case of bottom-up approach, molecular components arranges themselves to form these are molecular components. These are molecular component arranges themselves to form complex assemblies, atom by atom, molecule by molecule, or cluster by cluster. This is nothing but the molecular level or atomic level material. And this molecular level or atomic level material is arranged in a particular manner by collecting different atoms. They are collected by atom or molecule by molecule or cluster by, this is nothing but cluster by cluster, so as to form complex assemblies. For example, nanotubes, nanorods, or thin film, or whatever it is. This is nothing but the two broad ways to prepare nanomaterial. Top-down approach and bottom-up approach. In simple manner, in top-down approach, we are considering bulk material and cut it into pieces, we are getting nanomaterial. In bottom-up approach, we are considering atomic substance, molecular level substance, and arrange it in a particular manner so as to form nanomaterials. So up to now, what we have studied is different physical properties of nanomaterial. What are those different physical properties? Number one, color. color of the nanomaterial is different as compared to bulk material. We have considered the example of gold. After that, we have discussed about surface area. The surface area of nanomaterial is extremely high. Surface to volume ratio is high. If we consider nanoparticles, its all three dimensions are available for the chemical reactions, which is acting as a active site. All three dimensions is acting as a active site for chemical reaction. Therefore, rate of the chemical reaction increases. After that, catalytic activity. Nanomaterial substances act as a best catalyst as it increases the rate of the reaction as the surface area goes on increasing. Now, so far as thermal property is concerned, in case of nanomaterial, now the thermal property. The thermal property of nanomaterial, it is different. Means nanomaterial melts at a different melting point as compared to the bulk material. After that, electrical conductivity. Some substances are, if they are present in the nano-sized particles, they are acting as a good conductor or semiconductor of electricity. For example, carbon. It is acting as a substance for nanomaterial substance as a good conductor of electricity. After that, mechanical strength. If we reduce the particle size, the strength of that particular nanomaterialized substance goes on increasing. For example, in case of copper, if it is present in the nano-sized copper, then that nanomaterialized carbon is having about 500 times more strength as compared to bulk copper. After that, we have considered these two methods of preparation of synthesis of nanomaterial. First method is top-down approach and next is bottom-up approach. In top-down approach, we are considering bulk material. We are going to cut it into pieces and we are getting smaller nanomaterial. That is nothing but top-down approach. Means from larger molecule to smaller molecule. In case of bottom-up approach, what we are considering? We are considering atoms. These atoms are arranged in a more complex way so as to form nanomaterial. Means from smaller substances, we are going to design our carbon nanotubes or nanorods or whatever it is. Up till now, we have defined nanotechnology, nanochemistry, nanoparticles. We have seen the different types of nanostructures. We have seen its physical properties, 5 to 6 physical properties. We have gone into details. We have also gone into details of properties of, chemical preparation methods for the preparation of nanomaterial. That is top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So far as synthesis of nanomaterial is concerned by using Soliel method is concerned, we are going to discuss it in the next period. Thanks for watching this period. Now let us meet in the next lecture.